Welcome, awesome fiction students. It's me, kind of an awkward self-portrait here of me with some fiction. And I am at my favorite, I don't even know if I'm in the frame. Am I in the frame? I have no idea. I'm at literally my favorite store of all kinds, my favorite store in Corvallis. And I'm not saying the name of it because I'm hoping that somebody will message me the name of it. Somebody from our class has already been here. I'm not just going to take some photographs of the fiction section, but I'll give you a sense of what it looks like by turning around and, oh, what? There's the best section? Maybe if poetry section wasn't so awesome as well. But I like so many sections in these bookstores, but something wonderful has happened. Well, I don't know necessarily how wonderful it is, but my entire class does not mention the fiction writer that got me into fiction originally, and I need to fix that. I need to get some Bukowski into our class. It's really tough to pick the Bukowski that rises to the level of many of the authors that we discuss in our class, but for me, his writing was entry-level enough. I started reading Bukowski when I was in high school. I tell an amazing story about the first time someone handed me the book that I would talk about is not here. Maybe I'll take a photo of it at a later time. It was from New Directions or City Lights. It was not his usual publisher. This book's very thick. It's now been broken into two versions. Those, I remember their titles, or at least I can say them. One is called The Most Beautiful Woman in Town, which in fact is the story that I would pick. Now that I think of it, it's The Most Beautiful Woman in Town. That story for sure rises to the level of anything in this class. But every one of his stories captured me when I first began reading fiction on my own. And bear in mind, I was, 11th or 12th grade. Somebody comes up to me. It was my buddy, Brad, actually. And he comes up to me, and he says, Chris, you got to read this. And I was like, no, dude, that's a book. And he's like, no, dude, it's excellent. It has the F word in it. And I was like, whoa, hand it over. You know, listen, if you weren't like that in high school, that's cool. That's how I was, a little bit. But he did pique my interest in this book by Bukowski, and I read that book. I don't know, it must have 30, 50, I don't know exactly how many stories, and it was huge, though. That was a huge set of short stories. Bukowski's short stories can't be beat, as they're just so fantastic. They're just amazing. They're invigorating. Oh, I don't know. I just have to say, as a matter of fact, that's what this video is going to be about. It's going to be about, because guess what? I never find Bukowski on the shelves of a used bookstore, ever, ever, ever. There's always a Bukowski fan that has gotten there, because these books, it's, they can be, well, I don't know. I don't like to be dropping 15, 20 bucks every time I buy a book, so I come to a used bookstore like this, where you're dropping, somewhere between 4 and 10 for books that would normally be costing 15 to 25 or something like that. That's what's fantastic here. But I just want to show everybody. I started looking at the authors here, and I started cruising around. Oh, we're going to be reading him this term right here. That's T.C. Boyle, and there are a ton of books by T.C. Boyle right here. Excellent piece of fiction. Love that novel right here. It's fantastic. Set of books. Oh my gosh, this was one of the this is a set of short fiction that I read after I read Bukowski, and you have to, it's deeper. There are such funny stories in here, but again, a little bit more literary than Bukowski, or literary in a different kind of way. But I'm looking along, and then what did I find? I found these two books, and these are two excellent sets. This is Charles Bukowski's South and New North for $7. It's available right now. And then even better is Charles Bukowski's Hot Water Music. So these are both used. They're both from his main publisher, which was during his life Black Sparrow Press, and that's an amazing story, the story of the relationship and with him, and I think the publisher's name was John Martin. Great story, but here are these two books. I just highly recommend them. And also, I just want to say I highly recommend that anybody come to this particular bookstore. Here, I think I might even open up a forum for you to chime in, and she is amazing right here. Another person that we don't have time to cover, but if you can read Colette, so many favorites, you know. Being in a bookstore is one of my absolute greatest pleasures, and I hope that you enjoy this fiction class. Amazing work, amazing writer right here. So many. I mean, like, I could be reaching out and touching anyone. They're just some. This was one of the people that. This was in fact the book that. Again, there are touchstones in our lives. Ellen Gilchrist, just like Bukowski, made me feel like I could write too, and moved me in a way that many other writers hadn't at the time. Drunk with Love. Oh my gosh, it's been so long. She's just an amazing writer. Wow, and I haven't followed her. These are new to me. I haven't followed her since Drunk with Love. Actually, I've been sort of out of touch with her. But you know, life moves on for everybody. Anyway, and you know what? I think this is a Nobel Prize-winning writer, and I have not read that, but I love that title. You know, this is just standing in front of bookshelves and seeing what your mind does. That just seeing what you reach out to. Read this. And then again, read this. Read Colette, because she's just utterly breathtaking. I haven't read this one, except I hear amazing things about that one too. Anyway, all right, I could just stand here and show you books, but again, I'm going to take you back here because there are some people. If you're hard to move to fiction, I'm telling you, this guy can reach an 11th grader, and you know, here there's this guy. He's one of the most famous fiction writers in the world, and he's difficult to grasp at first, but once you spend the time with him, it's very satisfying. This writer, however, is immediately accessible, and maybe that's the point of this little video, that certain writing comes to us as accessible and you can get it immediately, and some writing takes a little bit more time. And then the other message of this brief video is, come and love a bookstore. Tell me what this bookstore is if you've ever been here. I'm going to open up a discussion forum just for fun, just to see if anybody's been here, or what are your favorite bookstores? What's your favorite bookstore experience? Let's chat a little bit. All right, there it is. I'll find the end button here while we are looking at my two favorite books on this shelf.